Pimple. Yo, this guy's nuts.
Denzel Curry.
No, no. Oh yes. Oh yes, this is the one.
I know.
Oh, oh Charlie. Bless you, Ron. Didn't you? Oh, sounded like a sneeze to me. Sucker. Dang, I can't believe YouTube stopped me from watching the game, man. YouTube stopped me from watching the game. They interrupted it because of copyright. They didn't want me to watch the NFL on my live stream. We back. We Back. Gotta watch football on the side now. Sons of guns. Take that. Oh wait. Take that, NFL. They probably can't copyright it if I show it like this. Oh, what the? There we go. Now you can watch it. Ooh, that's funny. Oh shit. Ooh, ooh. What? That's good stuff. Mm. Live. Yodi Land. Um, hmm. Now I'm blowing packs all kind of strands, and there is no going back. Simple. Mm, mm. Hurts. Mm. All right, all right. You want to watch this? Charlie, new video. Alert, alert, alert. I haven't seen this yet. Huge Bethesda drama. I like Bethesda because Skyrim. Let me take one more trip. Oh, mamma mia. Huh. Um, it's like cold front in the northeast. Little looming little thing.
I haven't made a video on the Mick Gordon and Doom Eternal soundtrack drama that's been cooking for the last week, and the reason is I wanted to wait to see how Bethesda would clap back, and today they've given a response, and it is weak. They dropped a wet sock on us. Now, while overall the appetizer they served up was underwhelming, and we'll get into it in a moment, they did, however, make a threat of having something substantial to back up their side of this drama, but they haven't revealed that yet. So for now, it's just kind of empty. But who knows? Maybe pretty soon in the future they'll come with something stronger after boofing creatine and taking HGH. But as it stands right now, this response from them I think is less than satisfactory. So let's go into the whole situation here from the start because it's pretty wacky and it's pretty sad. Hopefully all of you are familiar with Mick Gordon. He's one of the most well-respected
Nope. First, don't yell at me.
and most talented video game composers of our time. You might know his work from Killer Instinct, Doom, most likely. I absolutely love his work. I always compare him to like Hans Zimmer in the way that if his name is attached to a project, you know that that soundtrack is going to be slapping. And of course, Mick was brought back on board by id Software to be the composer for Doom Eternal. Fans were pumping their fists, sodden, sopping panties, everyone was excited, and it all seemed fine until the Doom Eternal OST released, the original soundtrack. So the OST is different than the game scoring, and when the OST came out, everyone was surprised that it just really wasn't good. Like, it wasn't well made, it was sloppy, and Mick Gordon's got no blemishes on his report card. This is a straight A student.
Oops.
His whole resume is nothing but hits. He's never had a miss until Doom Eternal's OST. Most people were criticizing it heavily, and then out of nowhere, Marty Stratton of id Software dropped a Reddit post that blamed Mick Gordon for why the OST wasn't great. And this Reddit post came out of absolutely fucking nowhere like a jump scare, and it pins the entirety of the blame on Mick Gordon, makes it seem like he's hard to work with, lazy, doesn't do what he's supposed to do. And this is the accepted perception of Mick Gordon for 2 years. 2 years ago, Marty Stratton dropped this, and for 2 years, people believed it, which of course had a wildly detrimental impact upon the reputation of Mick Gordon. Most people used him as an example for talented people who were lazy, and that's just the way people perceived Mick Gordon from that point forward. And he
Wait a
never came
minute.
forward to defend himself.
Let's go
Two
back.
years like a jump scare.
Let's read this. Over the past couple weeks, I've seen lots of discussion centered around the release of the Doom Eternal game, original game soundtrack. While many fans like the OST, there is speculation and criticism around the fact that the game's talented and popular composer Mick Gordon edited and mixed only 12 out of 59 tracks, the remainder being edited by our audio designer. Some have suggested that we've been careless with our disrespectful of the game music. Others have speculated that Mick wasn't given the time credit. And that's true when it's become popular. Oh, unacceptable to me are the direct references only. Saying the game as well as the mischaracterization. Statement our challenges have never been a matter of creative difference. Wait, there is speculation and criticism around the fact that the game's talented and popular composer edited and mixed only 12 of the tracks. Do you understand what's going on here? So, soundtrack apparently was edited by somebody else and not this famous guy. And that's what this homeboy is saying right here. I don't get it.
And it
What's
pins
what?
the
Why be upset?
entirety of the blame on Mick Gordon, makes it seem like he's hard to work with, lazy, doesn't do what he's supposed to do. And this is the accepted perception of Mick Gordon for 2 years. 2 years ago, Marty Stratton dropped this, and for 2 years, people believed it, which of course had a wildly detrimental impact upon the reputation of Mick Gordon. Most people used him as an example for talented people who were lazy, and that's just the way people perceived Mick Gordon from that point forward, and he never came forward to defend himself until last week. Last week, Mick Gordon came with an over
Is that what they're
14,000
saying?
word thesis, a fucking Harry Potter book worth of evidence to disprove that, saying that that Reddit post was misleading, factually incorrect, and downright fucking wrong. I'm not
1,400 books?
exaggerating the scope of this. This report here, it's not a twit longer. This is a goddamn twit novel. Like, it has its own table of contents, and he has printed more
Oh
receipts than a
shit!
Walmart. Mick Gordon came with an overwhelming amount of evidence to prove his side of the story, and it highlights a lot of fucked up things in here about what happened behind the scenes. There's so many layers to this onion, it'd make Shrek shit himself. It's wild. And it really seems like Marty Stratton has a personal grudge against Mick for some reason. I don't understand why.
He said, "There's so many onions it would make Shrek shit himself."
But it really feels like Marty fucking hates him. I don't know if Mick Gordon fucked Marty's wife or something, but my god, it really sounds like Marty was twirling his evil mustache here in order to make Mick's life miserable with this project. Let me show you just a quick excerpt there before getting into the deeper stuff. So this is in regards to that Reddit post. So the OST, it was a poor quality release which drew criticism. Marty asked Mick for assistance, and they eventually came up with a couple of ideas. So he offered to draft a joint statement addressing the situation and announcing plans moving forward, and requested that Mick hold off on making further public comments until they could address it together. And Marty then told Mick to expect the draft within a few hours, but it never arrived. Instead, what arrived was a fucking tank of dog shit. Instead, days later, Marty put on the fedora and wrote his infamous open letter Reddit post, which blamed Mick for everything, with the botched OST. So that's the level of respect Marty has for Mick. And that's really just the beginning. Get ready to have your heart broken here. Awards. I'm happy to hear Marty feels I deserve Doom's Music Awards, because the truth is those trophies are kept locked in the id Software office. I've only ever seen them once, behind glass, from a distance. Nobody has ever offered to send me copies, and thanks to the show's producers, I was invited to perform at the Game Awards, but other than that, id Software never invited me to collect the awards in person. Marty invited himself to collect the awards on my behalf instead. It would mean a lot to have a memento of all the hard work I poured into Doom franchise, but as it currently stands, doubt I'll ever see those awards again. So Marty, being the saint that he is, didn't
Yikes!
invite Mick to claim his own awards, and instead invited himself to claim the awards on Mick's behalf, and then never sent him the trophies. I don't know why he hates him so much. I don't get it. Now, before diving deeper into the bowels of this filthy colon, let's go ahead and go through some of the summary of facts that Mick Gordon provides here. So he still hasn't been paid for over half of Doom.
Damn.
Eternal's music, which is fucking criminal. That is a massive, massive problem that he has still not been fully paid for his work. The Doom Eternal OST was
Huh?
announced with his name
It's what? Nothing. I'm just watching this video.
attached and made available for pre-order before Mick was even contracted to produce it. And despite Mick's alarm and constant appeals, Marty refused to do anything about it, which led to a 9-month delay. And after 7 months of inaction, he reported his concerns to Bethesda, and Bethesda and him negotiated the Doom Eternal OST directly without Marty's involvement, and he received the contract for this just 48 hours before Doom Eternal was released. The delay was announced a week earlier before he was under contract, and the deadline was 29 days later. This is really only the tip of the iceberg. Things were just filthy with id Software and Bethesda and how they treated Mick. One thing that I think is very important to note is they attempted to bribe him into silence. According to Mick, they allegedly offered six figures in order for him to not come forward with his account of this situation. So one of the reasons it took him so long to come forward with all this, not only because of the length of it and how in depth he went, obviously that takes a lot of time to get all of those ducks in a row, but another reason that there was such a long period between that Reddit post and this, 2 years, is because they kept trying to legally scare him and intimidate him. So there were lawyers involved that would constantly just kick the ball down the field, hoping to keep putting this off because they knew Ragnarok was coming. They knew Mick Gordon wasn't going to stay silent. He didn't accept the bribe, so all they could really do is try and stall for as long as possible. And that's just one of the reasons that it took so long for him to come forward. They tried to legally strong arm him and bribe him into not coming forward, which clearly didn't work. And I'm glad Mick Gordon's coming forward because this is a really valuable look into some super shady shit that I'm sure isn't the only time it's happened in the industry. So Mick Gordon calling
Damn,
attention
I
to it
like
and
Bethesda
highlighting it and
too.
breaking it down, I think, is beyond valuable. And it's so great to see Mick Gordon come forward with an attempt to clear his name. And I think this is perhaps the best defense I've ever seen on the internet. This is like a
True.
professional S tier rebuttal. Like, it's actually wild how much evidence that Mick presents here to disprove everything Marty was claiming. When you look at Marty's post in comparison to this, it's laughable. It's written by a clown. There is no evidence to support any of Marty's claims. Meanwhile, Mick Gordon has 14,000 words full of receipts to support his side of this whole thing. Now, you might be asking, how did the OST end up so bad? Well, it's because Marty and id Software passed it off to Chad Mossholder, who was an in-house audio engineer for the team, and Chad Mossholder took it on and produced less than stellar work. Now, I'm not here to critique Chad Mossholder's talent, and from the quality of the OST, I'm pretty sure he didn't put his best foot forward here. I'm imagining that he only worked on this OST while blackout drunk and pissing his pants and forgetting who he was, because it is so sloppily made. It is amateurish. I refuse to believe
No,
a
no,
high level audio
it was a
engineer actually worked on this in any
14,000
meaningful
word
capacity.
defense
This may have been Chad Mossholder passing
that
this
he
off to an
posted,
intern so
Cameron.
he didn't have to. I don't
Not
know. But it
1400s,
is
it was
terrible. Like,
14,000
from an
words.
actual quality standpoint, it is awful. It wasn't Mick Gordon who produced this bad OST. It was the id Software team that forced this poor OST and blamed Mick. Now let's turn our attention to Bethesda's official response that they posted last night. This is the legendary Double Down. The recent post by Mick Gordon both mischaracterized and misrepresented the team at id Software, the development of Doom Eternal, and Marty Stratton and Chad Mossholder with a one-sided and unjust account of irreparable professional relationship. We are aware of all the details and history in this matter and unequivocally support Marty, Chad, and the team at id Software. We reject the distortion of the truth and selective presentation of incomplete facts in quotation mark, which I find very humorous because facts in quotation marks when talking about actual receipts, legitimate evidence, and they're putting facts in quotation marks. We stand ready with full and complete documented evidence to disclose in an appropriate venue as needed. The statements posted online have incited harassment and threats of violence against Marty, Chad, and the id Software team. Any threats or harassment directed towards members of our teams will be met with swift and appropriate action to protect their health and safety. We remain incredibly proud of id's previous collaborations with Mick Gordon and ask that fans refrain from reaching conclusions based on his account and, more importantly, from attacking any of the individuals mentioned on either side, including Marty, Chad, or Mick. This whole statement, I think, is an absolute toilet paper roll because you didn't release a statement when Marty went rogue, off book, off script, fucking full blown James Bond off the grid and released his Reddit post shitting on Mick. Where were you condemning that? That was a one sided account of this situation from Marty, and it shit all over Mick's reputation for 2 years and incited harassment against Mick. And it also irreparably
Boy,
damaged his
Charlie is popping
reputation
off
for
right
2
now.
years. Probably even prevented him from getting some work, I would imagine, because people would read that and be like, well, Mick sounds hard to work with and he won't reach the deadlines, because everyone believed Marty because his word meant something. They assumed he was telling the truth. Where was the Bethesda official statement then? Marty didn't even drop any level of facts. He just dropped a fan fiction out there. He had no evidence in his post to begin with. And Mick Gordon even made sure to let fans know that he doesn't want this to lead to harassment or anything like that against anyone involved in the team, and even highlighted how there were so many talented people at id Software that he really appreciated and how great it was overall with id Software. Just wanted to highlight these specific problems,
You
which
can
is a
hear his
luxury
dogs going
Marty didn't
sicko
afford
mode in the
Mick.
background.
Marty at no point made it seem like he didn't want Mick to take the full brunt of the impact from the fans' upset anger. At least Mick went there with class. Now it's a problem, and now you condemn it. And I'm very curious to see what full documented evidence you have. If you do have those kind of receipts, why didn't you lead with that? Why lead with this wet noodle? Why come out here with a threat first instead of just, here's our evidence? I always hate this move where it's, no, we have the full story and we will release it eventually. Just fucking start with it if you have it, coward.
That's what
Christ.
Republicans do.
Maybe they do have something that somehow disproves Mick. I would be shocked. I don't even really know what that magic bullet would look like here. I guess maybe contracts that would poke holes into the timeline or some of the claims Mick would make. I'm really not sure. But if they do have that evidence, I really don't understand why they wouldn't start with that as opposed to just putting out this statement saying that they have evidence. Like, I know a lot of people are saying it's an intimidation tactic, but intimidating him to do what? Mick has already dropped his 14,000 word massive report on all of this. What's there to intimidate? He's already dropped the bomb. So why even try and scare him anymore? Like, if you have the evidence, there really was no reason to start with something like this. You could have just immediately went into, here's our proof of our side, and this is what's wrong about his statement. There was just no reason for this. This is just absolute nothingness. And I do want to highlight something in particular where they say that Mick's statement has now led to threats of violence and harassment against Marty and Chad and those involved. I hate that. Unfortunately, that's just a byproduct of assholes on the internet. Mick Gordon tried to handle this as professionally as possible, was beyond generous and patient with this whole team, and eventually, when he found himself out of options, released this publicly. Marty did this as a first resort and led that harassment against Mick. And for some reason, they're especially highlighting it on Mick Gordon for some reason, even though Mick made a very special effort to let people know that it's not okay to do those things. But there's always going to be douchebags online, and it happens, unfortunately. But for them to come out in their official statement and say that because of Mick, now their lives and their safety is in jeopardy, I think is just fucked up. Trying to villainize the victim here for coming forward by using some assholes leaving mean tweets to them as like proof that, oh my god, now everyone's in trouble, like all of their safety is compromised. I don't like that. I'm not a fan of that. But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to talk about this a little bit. I'm excited to see what happens next if they really do have evidence. I'm curious to see what it is. But for now, I am definitely on Mick Gordon's side here. I've never seen a response that professional and that thorough. So yeah, that's about it. So yeah.
See,
I know a lot of people have made a hobby out of celebrating crypto bros taking
boy, he was being so aggressive. Mr. Do, Mr. Do.
The hockey world hasn't produced a more fascinating character than WHA and NHL goaltender Gilles Looney Gratton. Gratton never really wanted to be a professional goalie. He wanted to be a Tibetan monk, and he'd eventually quit hockey to seek enlightenment. But Gratton's path from playing big league hockey to finding spiritual wisdom was a raucous one, marked by sex, drugs, and rock and roll, overshadowing his unique talent that made him one of hockey's most promising young goaltenders. Here's the story of the man behind the iconic goalie mask, the eccentric oddball who hated hockey, but became one of the game's most memorable characters.
Gilles Gratton was from another planet. Like, I mean, he was the most bizarre person I've ever seen.
Gilles Gratton was born on July 28, 1952 in Montreal, one of 5 children of Fernand and Therese Gratton. His older brother Norm would eventually play in the NHL for several teams over 5 seasons. Gilles became a goaltender when his Pee Wee team's goalie,
This is
Dan
the most
Bouchard,
Canadian video I've
yes,
ever
that
seen in
Dan
my
Bouchard,
life.
was promoted to the Bantam team, and the team needed a goalie. So they chose the smallest player, which happened to be Gilles, to replace him. To that point, Gilles had never played the position. Gilles was a standout through Bantam and midget hockey and eventually moved on to Junior B in LaSalle, where he notably endured 2 severe concussions, both of which required hospitalization. These painful incidents soured Gilles on hockey. On the verge of quitting hockey for good, Gratton was enticed to continue when he received a surprise offer to play goal for the Oshawa Generals of the Ontario Hockey Association. Now, the Generals boasted several NHL stars such as Terry O'Reilly, Bob Hound Kelly, and George Ferguson, but the
I
team
don't know any
struggled
of those
through the
people.
69-70 and 70-71 seasons.
Who are these
Gratton
people?
played decently, but allowed 5 goals per game. The fortunes
I
of the
don't know what
Generals
this
and
guy is
Gratton
saying
improved
at all,
dramatically
dude.
in 1971-72, as the team posted a 35-18-10 record, with Gratton allowing 3.55 goals per game to earn his second All-Star team selection behind Michel Bunny Larocque of the Ottawa 67s. Gratton was drafted by the Buffalo Sabres in round 5 of the 1972 draft, and GM Punchy Imlach offered him $9,000 for 2 seasons, plus a $5,000 bonus and a sure ticket to the minor leagues.
Yes,
Luckily
yes,
for
yes.
Gratton, the fledgling World Hockey Association was now on the scene, and the Ottawa Nationals offered him $25,000 per year over 2 years and a $20,000 signing bonus. Gratton signed on with Ottawa to share goaltending duties with veteran Les Binkley. Aside from Binkley, Wayne Carleton, and Brian Conacher, the Nationals had little NHL experience,
Like,
but
what?
were a hard-working collection of minor leaguers
What
and
is this?
recent juniors. The 20-year-old Gratton had a stellar rookie season, posting a 25-22-3 record and a solid 3.71 goals against average. Gratton and Binkley were particularly strong in a 4-game playoff loss versus the eventual champion New England Whalers. In Game 2, Gratton stopped 52 shots, but the overmatched Nationals lost in overtime.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I don't get hockey, dude. I don't get hockey at all. What are these guys doing? Like, these guys are they're just standing on ice and they're hitting each other with sticks. Yo, this video is funny and all these names sound made up. Like more made up than basketball players.
The Nationals franchise officially moved to Toronto for the 73-74 season and became the Toronto Toros under the ownership of John Bassett. Gratton posted another strong season with a 3.53 goals against average in 57 games. At midseason, he replaced injured Al Smith in the WHA All-Star game in Minnesota. The Toros finished second in the East Division and defeated the Cleveland Crusaders in round 1, but lost to the upstart Chicago Cougars in the
Have you ever played
semifinals. Perhaps
hockey at camp?
Graton's most notable adventure during the season was skating around the practice rink naked, which may or may not have been the inspiration for a similar scene in the movie Slapshot. In the offseason, the Toros stunned the hockey world by signing NHL legends Frank Mahovlich and Paul Henderson, along with Czech defector Vaclav Nedomansky. With his contract up for renewal, Graton took advantage of a bidding war between the Buffalo Sabres and the Toros, and eventually he'd signed a 5-year deal with Toronto at $101,000 per season, plus a $100,000 signing bonus. The Toros also threw in the use of a Porsche 911S Targa.
Man got paid.
The outspoken Graton was the subject of numerous media features. In a nationally syndicated interview with writer Roy McGregor, Graton revealed that he had a great disdain for playing hockey. According to Graton, quote, "My ambition is to never work. That's what hockey gives me. I'll play until I stack up enough money to float for the rest of my life. Then I'm gone. Man, gone. I'm a specialist of nowhere. Have no and want no responsibility. Hockey gives me free time and lots of money, but I hate it. I like to win, I admit that, but I hate the pain and I hate the stupidity. The last 2 years I felt like I should say the hell with it and go back home to Montreal. Sometimes I think, why am I in this rink getting pucks thrown at me when I could be home enjoying life?" Journalists also became curious about Graton's passion for the types of things that were not typical among professional athletes, such as the fact that he was an accomplished piano player despite never taking a lesson, and he also played guitar in a band. Gilles was a believer in reincarnation. Graton could describe in great detail events that he says happened to him in previous lives.
Well, the one in Germany, I was a doctor. I lived in the center of Germany. In Spain, I lived in the southern Spain, and I was in the army.
An avid practitioner of astrology, Gilles once refused to play gold because the moon was in the wrong place in the sky. And finally, transcendental meditation was central to Gilles' life, but he avoided
This guy's
it
definitely
on game day for
anti-vaxxer.
fear it would make him too passive. To his ex-teammates, Gilles remains a perplexing character.
Man, he had a different outlook of life, but maybe because he smoked a lot of different stuff over the years, but he really thought he'd been reincarnated.
Prior to the 74-75 season,
Man said he
Graton
was high as
reluctantly
hell all
agreed to
day
play
long,
for
dude.
Team Canada 74 in the
I don't know who
second
Joe
8-game
Pera
Summit
is.
Series versus the Soviet Union. The team was composed of WHA players, and Graton was slated to be the third goaltender behind Jerry Cheevers and Don Smokey McLeod.
I haven't recognized a
Graton
single
was asked to
name
play Game
that this
5
guy has
for an
said.
injured Jerry Cheevers, but he refused due to his dislike of team director Wild Bill Hunter. Cheevers played through the injury and was outstanding anyway. After the first 4 games in Canada, and prior to arriving in the Soviet Union, Team Canada played exhibition games in Sweden and Finland. Graton played 2/3 of a game in Finland and played well, but he made headlines as he appeared nude on the front page of a Finnish newspaper. Back in Canada, Graton and the star-studded Toros enjoyed a solid 74-75 season, finishing second in the Canadian division with a 40-32-8 record. Graton's enthusiasm soured at mid-season, however, when coach Billy Harris resigned due to personal reasons. Graton was heartbroken as he and Harris were close. He felt even worse when an injured player, Bobby Leduc, was chosen to replace Harris as coach. Harris and Graton had an understanding that was, in a nutshell, Gilles could do whatever he wanted because Harris feared he would quit if he tried to discipline him. Graton came completely unglued in the playoff quarterfinal series versus the San Diego Mariners. Lamenting that he was physically and mentally unprepared to play, he was shelled for 5 goals in 2 periods in Game 1 and was replaced by Les Binkley for that game and the next 4. With the Toros down 2-3 in the series versus San Diego, Leduc asked Graton about starting Game 6, and Graton told him to, quote, "F off," and he wandered off to a local tavern and became inebriated. The day after being eliminated, Graton skipped the year-end team photo, hopped on a plane to Florida, and was subsequently sued by the Toros for breach of contract, a contract which still had 4 years remaining. On July 3, 1975, the Buffalo Sabres traded Gratton's rights to the St. Louis Blues, who signed Gilles to a 6-year contract at $90,000 per season. The NHL draft was in Montreal that summer, and the Blues wanted Gilles to stop by and say hello. When he arrived, he bumped into an old acquaintance from Oshawa, Gary Young, who gleefully asked Gilles how he felt about joining the Blues. Gratton responded, quote, "I don't give an F as long as they pay me. Effing hockey. I hate it." A few minutes later, Gratton learned that Young had been named the head coach of the St. Louis Blues. So not surprisingly, Young and Gratton were at odds from the start. Gratton played just 6 games for the Blues and recorded a 2.49 goals against average and a 2-0-2 record, but he failed to finish 3 of those games, feigning injury. The breaking point came on November 20 in a game versus the New York Islanders. 5 minutes into the game, he was hit on the elbow by a Bob Nystrom shot. Gratton skated off the ice. A cold Eddie Johnston was forced to replace him and was shelled for 8 goals. Gratton was done with the Blues. On his way out of St. Louis, Gratton accused Young of being an anti-French Canadian racist. Gratton tried to return to the Toros, but the Blues retained his rights and refused to relinquish them. Moreover, his Toros teammates still resented him for deserting the team in the 1975 playoffs. There'd be no second act for Gratton in Toronto. So once again, he hopped in a car, headed to Florida to, quote, work on his music. He assumed his hockey career was over, but this was the 1970s, and the demand for goaltenders far exceeded the supply. Later that summer, New York Rangers GM John Ferguson offered Gratton a 3-year contract. Although he was woefully out of shape, he made the team as a backup to John Davidson. The Rangers were trying to recover from a horrendous 75-76 season, but were a dysfunctional mess in 76-77. For his part, Gratton showed his appreciation for Ferguson's lifeline by drinking heavily, smoking pot daily, and concocting numerous excuses to avoid playing.
John Ferguson would ask him to play, and he'd have some
I like this guy.
warped excuse.
When I played hockey, I kind of used it just to play with people's mind, you know, just to play with the coach's mind. I can't play because my moon is not in right alignment with the sun. And if you play me tonight, I'm going to let in about 15 goals. And he looked at me and said,
Tomorrow when the full moon's gone, I'll be happy to be able to play type of thing. But he used to drive coaches nuts.
And he actually shared the fact that he was reincarnated as a hockey goalie from being an executioner in Barcelona, where he threw the rocks at the sinners, and that he had to meditate to eliminate that fear. Some games he would just get out of the way of the puck, thinking possibly that it was the rocks and he was getting back.
The team finished well out of the playoffs. Gratton's record was an unimpressive 11-18-7 with a 4.22 goals against average. Ferguson blasted Gratton's play as, quote, not NHL caliber. Despite Gratton's shoddy play, the 1976-77 season remains the most notable part of his legacy for his choice of goalie masks in an otherwise forgettable game versus the St. Louis Blues. He had gone through 5 masks that season, and then, on January 30, 1977, he gained lifelong infamy when he unveiled this iconic mask.
I was reading a National Geographic magazine, and I saw this tiger. I thought, wow, it would be neat if I could make a mask out of that. As the game was starting, I put my mask on, and you could hear the crowd would go like, ooh. Just like, wow, what's this, you know? And then the referee was looking at me, and they didn't start the game. They all skated down the ice to see me, the referees and even the St. Louis players. And they kind of look at my mask and said, wow, man, that's really neat. And then they started the game.
Gratton's career would finally implode on March 10, 1977, when he refused to start a game versus the Boston Bruins because, quote, the stars didn't align properly. The Rangers were forced to play rookie Dave Tatarian in the game, and he allowed 6 goals in the first period. And he'd never played another NHL game. For that matter, Gratton's NHL career was about to end as well. At training camp in 1977, Gratton further alienated himself from Ferguson by calling him a liar in the press. He was promptly put on waivers, he went unclaimed, and was dispatched to play for the AHL New Haven Nighthawks. His stint in New Haven would consist of 1 game, the only minor league game he ever played, a 6-1 drubbing at the hands of the Binghamton Dusters. In a newspaper article soon after, he was quoted as referring to New Haven as a prison, but a well-paying prison. I'm happy to make money and do nothing, he said. They have to pay me. Breton was suspended, and the Rangers eventually bought out his contract. At this point, Breton's exit from hockey barely registered a blip. For the goalie who was compared to Ken Dryden just 2 years before, his career was finished, and he'd soon be forgotten. He was just 25 years old. Breton had some minor brushes with hockey throughout the years. He was a photographer at the World Ice Hockey Championships in the 90s in Vienna and Finland. He worked at classic auctions in Canada. And of course, he penned his memoirs for the entertaining book Gratuni the Loony with author Greg Oliver. Writer Alan Abel once asked, is Gilles Gratton a harmless, amusing character or a disruptive force in the sport he once played so well? One thing is for certain, an outspoken free spirit like Gilles Gratton could have only played in the 1970s. Despite squandering his talent and alienating every team who hired him, he was always authentic, and for that, he is remembered fondly by his teammates. Looking back at that 1975 article with Roy McGregor, it's clear that Gratton began his career with a goal, and he achieved it. I hope when they lay me in my grave, there's someone there who can say Gratton never worked a day in his life. If someone can say that about me, then I'll have achieved what I set out to achieve. I've already worked out my marker. Here lies King Floater. Never worked a day in his life. But he
King
was happy.
Floater? Yo, I like that.
Thanks for watching this episode of PHA TV. Please hit the subscribe.
Can't believe I really watched that.
Bitch, I'm smoking Zuka, this ain't Zaza. Bitch, I'm smoking Zuka, this ain't Tuka. Run up on me, tryna be a shooter. I might send a nigga to my papa. Shawty said she let me, she said, here we go.
What's up with y'all, man? I'm back with another video, and I know it's been like 5 days. It's been a long time. At least it felt like a long time to me. You know what I'm saying? But I do want to thank every single person who wished me a happy birthday, and I do want to thank everybody who's still going to wish me them belated happy birthdays, because I do accept those. You know what I'm saying? Ain't never too late to wish me a happy birthday. You can give me an early birthday. You know what I'm saying? For next year. You know what I'm saying? Hey, it is what it is. I ain't gonna be no negative person. You didn't say happy birthday. Fuck you. I'm not one of them people. You know what I'm saying? You don't say happy birthday. It is what it is. Let's keep it going. You know what I'm saying? But besides that, I got Here We Go Again, Suicide Boys. I know, you know, it's been a long time, bro. So I gotta come back and just bounce back to the people in the suicide. I dropped my fucking bong. I dropped over, not Reliable, not the whole thing. Alright. I dropped the bowl of Reliable. The bong of Reliable's fine. Her injury is okay. I have to order a new. For the haters. For the haters. Okay.
It's bad.
Bartholomew, alright.
It wasn't bad.
I don't get no, it ain't no Reliable, it ain't no Rick and Morty, man. You know what I'm saying? And for it to be that big, it should have been hitting like Reliable at least. Though Reliable short and quick to the shit, it's like taking a shot. But let's get into this shit, man. 3, 2, 1. Yeah. Hold up. I know we're on a couple seconds into it. I know, 10 seconds, I know. But y'all know how I get down. If I see something, I gotta point it out. The music video. It's an actual music video. At least it seems like so far. The quality that they just showed, like the little snippets of their actual self that they showed, it looked like the best quality video. Look. Look, watch. Watch. Come on now. Just like it might be one of their best like quality videos coming to actual quality of the camera. Actual quality of the camera, this one might be hard. This I might just found something. I might just have found something, you know what I'm saying? Might just have. They got German Suicide Boys, here we go again. Here we go again. Same old shit, dog, just a different day. Here we go again. You know how niggas do when we play, how we play. Here we go again. A man's gotta do what a man's gotta do. Here we go again. So if it's fuck me, nigga, then you know it's fuck you. R.I.P. DMX, man, the real one, man, the real fucking legend. Real Def Jam Vendetta legend, man. The fuck niggas talking about? Been playing with DMX since I was even realizing I was alive. Since I realized my existence. Since I was like 3 years old and I snapped into reality. And I was like, what the fuck? Whoa. Since I realized that shit, I known DMX. So when I hear Here We Go Again, DMX always gonna pop up in my head. Him and CJ, oh shit, here we go again. Them two shits pop in my head. I'm a real street nigga. I'm a real hood nigga. I'm a real gamer too. Let's get it though, man. Here we go again. And it's be hard too. I hear you. I hear you. Alright, I'm listening to Germ right now. I'm trying to decipher his bars. You know, I haven't really heard Germ like that. So with that being said, when it comes to a motherfucker I haven't heard, it's less turn up time and more listen, focusing on the motherfucking bars and let's rate that shit. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know how the fuck I get down over here. So with that being said, so far his bars is a little light. You know what I'm saying? They ain't no Suicide Boys bars, but he got the flow. You know what I'm saying? He doing this thing on this bitch. He vibing on this bitch. His versus the vibe so far. But I'm not gonna sit here and act like he's going crazy with the motherfucking bars. You know what I'm saying? And it was cool, but man. Y'all know about the Hot Boys, man. Young Hot Boys straight from the ghetto. Y'all know what the fuck. If you don't know what the Hot Boys, this ain't no hot girl summer ass shit. This ain't no hot boy ass. This ain't that shit. This is that motherfucking Weezy Up Baby. Know what I'm saying? Juvie. It's that old shit, that old New Orleans shit. If y'all don't know, do y'all New Orleans history, you know what I'm saying? Because if you really is a Suicide Boys fan, a lot of shit like West Bank and shit like that go over y'all head, Hot Boy and shit. If you're not from the boot and you ain't from Louisiana, you don't really know your, you know what I'm saying, your history and the music shit, you not really gonna know some bars, you know what I'm saying, by the Suicide Boys. It's just
Hey, what
you
up,
listen to them.
Adam?
Another reason I fuck with them is because they got New Orleans
Boys are
bars.
back in town. Hey, if
They
you
shout
real
out
though,
West
get in the
Bank, you know what I'm
Discord.
saying? They shout out
We'll chop it up right
Baton Rouge,
now.
but they shout out Louisiana, period, New
We'll
Orleans,
chop
period,
it
you know
up
what I'm
right
saying?
now.
They be having them Saints
This is the first
beats
time I ever
though.
seen this
That's why
guy.
I fuck with them.
I clicked
I
on
can
it because he
relate to
said
them in
Suicide
more ways
Boys.
than I can relate to 90%, 99% of the artists, bro. 99% of the artists I listen to, I can't relate to them on a personal level, such as we like the same football team and we're from the same place. That shit's rare for me. You know what I'm saying? Especially for them to have their music to be so popular, and I relate to them so much, and hard to find. Period. Period. Bitch. Ha. Period. 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 Get out. I like when he do that shit. And then that's one thing. See, Germ was cool, but Germ didn't have nothing extra. No No little in that shit. Nah, a little. You know what I'm saying? Had no switch up. No, you know what I'm saying? I ain't knocking them, but this is just what I see in Scrim's verse, and I just see the Suicide versus period. They just mix shit up a little bit. They don't have you listening to the
I
same
like the
shit
song.
the entire song. You know what I'm saying? They ain't repetitive like that the entire song. I fuck with them. I fuck with them. Can't talk.
I got a good one for you, Adam. Next video. Guy knows what's up. Guy gets it.
Ooh, hey. Kanye, I'm a motherfucking monster. If you haven't heard that song, go listen to that bitch. Monster by Kanye, Jay-Z, Rick Ross, Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj ate all they ass. Nicki Minaj
Pause.
ate all they ass. Ate all of them as in the music shit, not on that bitch.
Come
Let me
on,
see how you
man.
be grabbing the fuck out that bitch. Let me see how many times you grab that bitch. Oh. This nigga here, bro. I love when they do this shit, this vocalizing shit, man. I love it. I love it. If you like it, I love it. It's the vocalizing for me. Ain't that what y'all be saying, ladies? It's the it's the vocalizing for me. It's the for me. It's the for me.
Hey. Oh, that's a good one. All right, but where's the beef? Brr, 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 brr.
Let's move on from this thing that we were talking about, and let's get back to Donald Trump.
Nearly 2 years after attempting to overturn a presidential election and inciting an attack on the U.S. Capitol, Donald Trump is running for president again.
Donald Trump has spent 2 years attacking American elections, but now he's hoping voters will return him to power.
In order to make America great and glorious again, I am tonight announcing
Glorious.
candidacy for President of the United States.
Some fellow Republicans have blamed Trump for the party's failure to win big in the midterms. Trump acknowledged Republicans should have done better, but he said that was because Americans don't yet realize how bad things are under Joe Biden.
The citizens of our country have not yet realized the full extent and gravity of the pain our nation is going through, and the total effect of the suffering is just starting to take hold.
What happened to Derrick Henry, bro? Oh, here we go. Mason Crosby. Mason Crosby. Oh, go. Hell yeah, boy.
I think that was the most powerful statement that Trump could have made, and I think it was the worst. I don't know. I feel like there's basically a recognition that things are not as bad as the way Republicans present it. Like, that's such a bad take. Bad for him, yeah. No, I'm saying, like, dude, why would you ever concede to that? 90% of the things that Trump is mentioning in his speech are things that don't even happen in the real world or don't happen to the degree that he claims they're happening. So why would you ever concede to the other point? The only reason why the economy hasn't completely melted down is because of what I did, lowering the taxes, pumping money into the economy, making sure that, the economy runs smoothly, but Brandon is ruining it. Something like that. All right. Ivanka Trump coming after Donalde. Drama. Big drama. Hate to see it, folks. You hate to see your only successful daughter not show up to defend you. It kind of makes sense as to why Big Homie last night propped up Eric Trump, which was another big L for Trump's speech last night. If you remember, I talked about that as well. Donald Trump has openly showed his disdain for his children. He is not a fan of his children. You already know this, okay? It's not something that he hides. The idea, the notion that my man would prop up Eric Trump in that convo, big L. It's not good. Not good at all. Straight up. Not good at all. He literally was like, oh, Eric is here, my big, beautiful boy. Big L for him. So now we know why. It's because Ivanka was not there. I'm surprised literally no one has covered him killing drug dealers. No Jumper covered it. I don't know why they're not mentioning that more. I haven't really seen the media lock on to that. I mean, I saw some writing about it. No Jumper covered it. Rap TV covered it. That's pretty much it, though. Conservatives the Fox News is not even covering it for some reason. Someone in the chat literally said, "What's wrong with killing drug dealers?" What an insane fucking take, man. What do you mean was wrong? You want the state to fucking decide who and who not to kill? Like, that's already a bad idea regardless. But we also fucking know that the punitive carceral state clearly is not a good way to stop shit. The biggest reason why drug crimes are happening is because drugs are not decriminalized. They're not legalized. There are plenty of countries that have gone in the exact opposite path and have seen tremendous results. Portugal is a big example of this, okay? There are countries that have
Man, it's
also
spitting
gone in
right
the
now.
opposite direction, like Duterte, okay, in the Philippines, that hasn't seen positive results. Same-day executions for drug dealers is the most insane fucking take, especially when who is considered a drug dealer is, a squishy subject. I don't think he's advocating to kill motherfuckers that are making bathtub met in their cousin fucking neighborhoods, okay? Talking about black people.
Yeah, Ivanka said that she wants to spend time with her family and is going to sit it out, but she loves her family and her dad. Yeah.
No word about Jared, though. But it sounds like, based on what she's saying, they want to be there to support the dad and go to all these events, but they're not going to be involved in the politics, not going to work in the White House if he wins.
Eric and Don Jr. will be very much involved.
But he runs the business, so he can't be. I don't know if he can have a job at the White House.
That's a good point, but I think he can be. I think he'd be involved in the campaign.
Such a weird subject matter. Like, oh, the president's daughter is not going to be involved in the White House. It's like, yeah, she had no fucking qualifications to be involved in the White House to begin with. Like, what the fuck is that? What a normal thing to say from, the greatest democracy on the planet, the arbiter of truth and civil society, talking about the fucking president's family like this. It's crazy. I mean, that's such a libbed up take. Obviously, nepotism is how this works. You know what I mean? There is so much of it in every facet of our existence. It's just kind of weird to think, though. It's kind of weird to consider.
In the past, Nikki Haley has said, I'm not going to get in. People say, Christy, no, I'm not going to get in if Trump gets in. You wonder if President Trump shows vulnerability if they change their mind. Mike Pompeo said, I haven't made a decision yet, but you wonder if he's going to get in, if Trump gets in, if he's vulnerable. So that'll be it. If you can't win without the Trump base, but the Trump base is not enough to win.
Damn, they're fucking saying it. Right. That's what I've been saying, baby. He ain't wrong. You can't win without the Trump base, but the Trump base is not enough to win.
One of the reasons we thought early on, and Donald Trump used to come on this show, we thought that he could get elected, was there were so many independents who said that's a really good message.
The issue is, it seems like, and this could change, if Fox News is able to brainwash enough people with speed, potentially you could maybe make those numbers work. You could make the suburban normal whites feel like they also have a stake in this whole trans panic, gender panic shit without being grossed out by dudes like Matt Walsh constantly talking about 12-year-olds genitalia. That's one alternative. That's the worst possible outcome, in this situation. The other outcome is that you can't really do that because there is a inherent conflict within the suburbans who want civility, who are relatively conservative or very conservative, but they want fucking civility and they don't want to like constantly think about children's genitalia, and will then end up voting for the Democratic Party because the Democratic Party is also offering them the same level of like economic policies without all the baggage. They're not like weird freakazoids like the Republican Party's base of support is.
All right, so look who's coming on our show today. Mike Pence just wrote this book that Brian got through 100 pages of last night, and we're interviewing him today. And he was interviewed by Brett Baer, and Brett Baer said, "Would you vote for Donald Trump?" And he said, "I think there will be better choices."
Oh man, Brett Baer said better choices. What's up? They're all gonna fall in line, baby. They're already half gargling his dick, and they're gonna full gargle it the more he fucking speaks. The weakest part of this is the fact that Trump did not fucking launch anything towards Rhonda. Maybe he's like gearing up for a Rhonda VP pick or something, or maybe that's still on the table. I don't know. Surprised that he didn't blast him more.
That's a New York Post. You can barely see it.
This is a New York Post. Do you see that? You can barely.
God, the media is so fucking whack, dude. CNN, oh my God, New York Post turning on Trump. It's not real. It's like they did this in 2015.
And he brought up the Kim Jong-un letter that he is under investigation
yes.
for taking to Mar-a-Lago. That really stood out to me because he's literally under investigation for that. The other thing, though, is
And look at
Ivanka
what's
Trump.
happening with Ukraine in the background, right? Remember the other reason that he was
The first
recalled,
impeachment.
right? And then we had Ukraine happening as
And he came out and said Russia fired the missile. That's not true.
Damn, they're getting mad at Trump for like something that liberals literally said that morning. That's crazy. That's how you know this motherfucker can't even like and place blame on Russia. Liberals will fucking get mad at him for that too. That's crazy. Okay. All right, let's take a look at what Ben Shabibo is saying.
President Trump announced last night, as predicted, that he
President
was going
Trump.
to run for president of the United States. Now, he had predicted it would be the most important speech in American history. The timing of it is really curious. It's strategically strange. Let's put it that way. Because if you are Donald Trump, what you really want to do is clear the field, right? But if you do it too early, and there are more than 700 days until the next election, this gives people a lot of time to get very tired.
Why? He's goated. He will fucking annihilate the field. That's when he's best.
That people become exhausted. This has always been the big problem for Trump.
I don't know if Ben recognizes, but he was president for 4 years.
And that is one of the rationales for why he didn't do as well in the election as he should have, and that's why he did not win when running against a person who's actually comatose. Because Joe Biden was more tired than Trump, but he was less tiring than Trump for a lot of Americans. In 2020, Donald Trump exhausted a lot of people because he was on the TV every day talking about COVID, because he seemed to be sort of all over the place in his approach to that, because every day was just revolving around him. And so the election was a referendum on him. And meanwhile, Joe Biden went back to his coffin in the evenings and during most of the day, and he just slept there. And every so often they would take him out and they would spoon feed him some oatmeal just to give him the nutrients. And then they would trot him out like directly outside of his house in Delaware. They would train a camera on him and he would go,
I'm not gonna lie, this is low-key kind of true. Like, he ain't wrong. Might be the first time his motherfuckers like had a sequence of words that he put together that's like kind of correct.
And so the question, if you are Donald Trump, is if I jump in yesterday, November 15th, 2022, and Ron DeSantis doesn't jump in until after the end of the first legislative session, meaning in like June of 2023, that gives you, by my count, and I'm no expert, but I know how a calendar works, that gives you 8 months to simply be out there saying things. And that's very tiring. It means you're the only person at issue. I mean, if Ron DeSantis just goes about governing and doesn't pay any attention to the stuff that you're saying, and you're spending every day on Truth Social ripping into it.
I don't know, man. Trump is popular when he's on camera. He's unpopular when he's not. That's all I've seen so far. Trump not on Twitter, not on camera all the time, losing popularity. Trump on camera all the time, constantly captivating people, pretty good for him.
The fact that other people are very likely to jump in halfway through next year, he's going to preemptively try to launch strikes against them. And they're meanwhile just going to be going about their business and governing and doing their stuff. Trump runs the real danger of looking petty.
What? Trump has always been petty. The entire point is his pettiness is seen as authenticity. He also has a very good method of like turning his petty grievances and making them seem like they're systemic problems directed at the white conservative base of support. The issue is the January 6th rioters are freaks. They were too much heart of the MAGA type people. So a lot of the conservatives that otherwise were like, you're right, liberal elitists are fucking shitty. They do look down at us or whatever. And I hate that. Could not identify themselves, the moderates, I mean, the moderate suburbans, could not identify themselves with like the freaks that were disgusting and dirty and sweaty and greasy at January 6th, storming the fucking halls looking for Nancy Pelosi. That's the problem. Pettiness has always been a very good weapon for him. The issue is he tried to do that with January 6th, and it didn't really work. A lot of the moderates were like, yeah, no, those guys are gross. Like, I don't want to be associated with that.
Doing it at Mar-a-Lago looks like he's sort of holed up in his house, right? I mean, that's where he lives. It's sort of like me going to my living room to announce that I'm running for president of the United States. Mar-a-Lago, everybody knows that's Trump's area. If you were going to launch a popular movement, what you'd really want to do is do like a giant rally, right? You announce this in advance, like I'm going to announce, and we're not going to have 1,000 people in the room. We're going to have 20,000 people in the room, right? We're going to show the power of the Trump train. This train is going. It has no brakes, as they say. And we have 20, 30,000, like we'll fill a stadium with people who love Donald Trump. And it'll scare the living bejesus out of everybody because we'll be out there with a giant crowd. Instead, he launched it at Mar-a-Lago, essentially in his backyard, in a ballroom with like 1,000 people. All of whom were sort of handpicked friends, including people like Roger Stone, which,
She
again,
was
if you're
waiting
other
for you.
campaign supporters, you probably should not try to stack people
Mm-hmm.
who are actually
She
been
literally
indicted
just
for
got up
crimes
there.
as a general matter. You actually want kind of the best and the brightest.
Dog, fuck you mean? Okay, Trump. Like, if Trump doesn't have criminals in his circle, he has nothing. The fuck are you talking about? Who's he gonna have in the room then? Nobody?
He has the
Huh?
gravitas of having been president behind him, which means he should be doing the Obama.
Did they eat dinner? Yeah. Mr. Duke? Oh, galloping. Come on. Where are you leaving me for? You haven't already? Oh. Nice butt. Mm-hmm. No, she's not moving.
Thing, right? When Obama ran for re-election in 2012, he was doing
Ooh,
giant
what a
stadiums,
catch.
Greek pantheon kind of stuff.
Yo.
Right? That's what Trump really should have done.
Bro, he's acting like Trump hasn't already been doing fat fucking rallies. This optics shit is so stupid. Ben's criticizing Trump like a fucking liberal, dude. Like there's no analysis here. He's just like, oh man, Roger Stone was in the room. It's like, bro, Roger Stone was in every room. The fuck are you talking about? Like that, you avoided that shit all the fucking time in the past. You never wanted to talk about it when he was winning, but now that you hate him, you're like, oh man, Roger Stone is fucked up. It's like, shut up. He's like complaining that there is no fucking fog machines. Like, shut up, dude. I wish Tucker Carlson would say some of these truths as well since they have a bigger audience, but I know they won't. First of all, Tucker Carlson would never say that. Secondly, understand that Ben Shapiro is not speaking truths here. He's actually just making good anti-Trump propaganda because there is some truths in what he's saying, but he's making anti-Trump propaganda that's like leading you to believe that he's right. The idea that Trump can't fucking lock up arenas is silly. Out of any political candidate out there right now, Trump still is number one in locking up arenas. Will they cuck Trump like they did Sanders? No, dude. Donald Trump maintains a larger percentage of like actual Republican votes than Bernie ever did. Bernie in 2016 was an anti-Hillary vote. Let's be real. Make no mistake. It was a perfect opportunity for democratic socialism to be mainstreamed a little bit, an idea that people would welcome a little bit, and that was great for the momentum of the left. But in a country as reactionary as the United States of America, like most of Bernie Sanders' popularity also came from the fact that he was anti-Hillary. The worst thing that the Democratic Party could have done is put someone like Hillary Clinton up against Donald Trump and also against Bernie Sanders. But it did work in our favor. When Bernie was put up against someone who the media largely were able to sell as like the only guy to beat Donald Trump, look at what happened. Biden didn't even step foot in half of the Super Tuesday states that he won. He didn't even have offices. He got billions of free native ads from the media after his predicted South Carolina victory. Bernie also had a huge spoiler. The neoliberals worked alongside Biden, whereas Warren also worked alongside Biden. These are important reasons.
Donald Trump basically decided to light his party on fire last night by announcing a third run for the presidency despite a dismal performance from his candidates in the midterm elections that has sparked yet another round of recriminations and infighting within the GOP over the future of the party. But the real reason Trump announced, of course, was that he thinks it will save him from being indicted. For more on this, it's time for a closer look.
Wait, I already watched this.
Republicans were expecting a landslide in last week's.
No. Yes, this is the new one.
Republicans have narrowly won back the House of Representatives, but they'll have to navigate the next 2 years with a very small majority, which will likely cause chaos and empower fringe extremists like Marjorie Taylor Greene. And all of that will be happening as Donald Trump tears the party further apart with his presidential bid. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. Today was a big day on Capitol Hill. Outgoing House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who has made history as the first woman to lead the chamber, announced that she would not seek re-election to a leadership position in the next Congress. In her speech, she noted how many presidents she has worked with across party lines, although she left out one notable name.
It's been my privilege to play a part in forging extraordinary progress for the American people. I have enjoyed working with 3 presidents, achieving historic investments in clean energy with President George Bush, transformative health care reform with President Barack Obama, and forging the future from infrastructure to health care to climate action with President Joe Biden.
Say what you will about Nancy Pelosi, but she knows what she's doing. The worst thing you can do to Donald Trump is not say anything about Donald Trump. The man desperately craves attention. He'd rather you call him a disgusting, degenerate criminal moron than not say his name. And I'm sure he watched that speech, since he's always watching TV. Right now, he's probably at home spitting out saying, "Wait a second, does Nancy not like me? What did I ever do to her? Oh, right. Oh, yeah. Oh, and there was that. Oh, that was a bad one." Compare Pelosi's farewell address. To Trump's announcement that he's running for president for a third time, which was full of lies and mangled sentences and weird tangents, Trump's speech has also sparked yet another round of infighting and recriminations among Republicans, given that Trump has repeatedly tanked the party. He did in 2018, 2020, and then again in last week's midterms. And yet Trump obviously does not care. On Tuesday, he announced his intention to take back the corridors of power. Although, as usual, he tripped up on the word, and then because he was too embarrassed to correct himself, repeated it a bunch of times to try to save face, which only made it worse.
This is our country, our government, and the corridors of power, they're our corridors. They're not their corridors. These are our corridors. And we are coming to take those corridors back.
Parters.
Can I just pitch you something? Try halls. Halls of power. So clearly what happened here is he stumbled on the word corridors once and then said it like 8 more times to try and recover, which is not how you do it. It's like if you called someone the wrong name during sex and then just kept saying it in hopes that they would choose to legally chain it. Lisa, I mean, you're not a Lisa, but you look like a Lisa. And Lisa, what a name. Mona Lisa, Lisa Simpson. Even you have to admit it's better than your real name, not Lisa. He says the word so many times that like he's in an episode of Seinfeld where Kramer tells Jerry about his plan to turn his entire apartment into a series of hallways. One word, Jerry, corridors. You got corridors here, corridors there, it's all corridors. They finally did it, Jerry. They took away my corridor. Well, you'll never guess who took a trip down my corridor. Now that's how you enter a corridor. Keep an eye out for my new one-man show, Mindfeld. When's it open? It's closed. It hasn't even opened yet. Can they do that? Well, why didn't they call me? Oh, they thought I'd do the voices on the phone? Anyway, despite Trump's drag on the GOP in the midterms, it looks like House Republicans have crawled across the finish line and eked out a narrow majority in the House, potentially making GOP leader Kevin McCarthy the next speaker. Now, McCarthy will have a very small margin of error to work with, given that Republicans will only have a few more votes than Democrats. That probably means he won't be able to get much done, although McCarthy dismissed the notion that the size of his majority will matter.
What was our mission? To win the majority, to stop Biden's agenda, and fire Nancy Pelosi. All of that is accomplished. Remember, in the House, they don't give gavels out by small, medium, and large. They just give you the gavel.
Maybe they don't give out gavels in small, medium, and large, but they should. If you botch an election that badly but still manage to eke out a narrow win, you should be forced to call the House into session with a tiny little gavel the size of a pen. Also, don't give Donald Trump any ideas, because you know as soon as he heard McCarthy say that, Trump asked his team to get him a giant gavel. I don't even need to run because I've got the biggest gavel, and the guy who shows up with the biggest gavel, he gets to be in charge. And you know what they say about guys with gavels, right? Guys with big gavels. We all know what they say, don't they? Also have big corridors. Plus, if Trump had a big gavel, he could play whack-a-mole with his lawyers. Boss! I got an idea. Oh! You could have just said no, boss. Back in the hole. Anyway, McCarthy's right about one thing. He may not be able to pass much of any legislation with such a slim majority, but House Republicans will gain subpoena power, along with the ability to run committees and conduct investigations. In fact, they've already announced their intentions to conduct nonsense investigations into stuff like Hunter Biden's laptop. Cartoon character lunatics like Marjorie Taylor Greene might even have the power to conduct oversight over the Biden administration, which Greene has repeatedly said she would do aggressively.
I'm looking forward to Republicans taking back control in the House. And I'm looking forward to serving on committees. Here's what you can expect from Republicans. We will be investigating and holding people accountable. There's a lot of traitors and criminals that need to be held accountable.
First of all, I wouldn't trust anyone to conduct investigations whose fashion style is Unabomber chic. Also, this is why McCarthy's majority is likely to be such a show. He has to answer to crazies like Greene, who in turn answer to Trump in order to wield power, because he has such a slim majority. At any moment, a few rogue Republicans could threaten to take him down by withholding their votes if they don't get what they want. You can't function in a job like that. Like, for example, here at this job, I don't have to keep everyone who works for me happy all the time, which is great, because if I did, I'd be constantly doling out favors to everyone, like letting Wally interrupt the show to plug his cue card business.
Seth, the holidays are right around the corner. So if you're looking for a unique gift for that special loved one in your life, just go to Cue Cards by...
Stop it! See? I don't need to let him finish. Anyway, if you're looking for a unique gift for that special loved one in your life, just go to cuecardsbywally.com. Wait a second, damn it! Did you write that on the cards without my permission?
Did I? Oops.
You're my Marjorie Taylor Greene. Can we edit out the long trailing giggle of... We call that sound effect Wally's Delight. Anyway, these are the kinds of bozos Trump surrounds himself with, and now they will have a very tenuous hold on power in the House, which is bad for everyone, including Republicans themselves, because Trump's hand-picked slate of election denier candidates performed horribly in last week's midterms, especially compared to other more traditional Republicans. Voters thoroughly rejected Trumpism and the MAGA movement and made clear they want a competent government that will preserve American democracy. That's why Republicans are also nervous about Georgia, where Trump-backed Senate candidate Herschel Walker finished second and will head to a runoff against incumbent Raphael Warnock. And Walker is not helping himself, as evidenced by this incredibly bizarre and completely real clip from a rally yesterday where Walker told an inscrutable story about watching a movie about vampires and werewolves on TV. See if you can follow, best of luck to you, any of this.
You ever watch a stupid movie late at night hoping it's going to get better, don't get better, but you keep watching it anyway? Because the other night I was watching this movie. I was watching this movie called Fright Night, Freak Night, or some type of night, but it was about vampires. I don't know if you know vampires are some cool people, are they not? But I'm going to tell you something that I found out. A werewolf can kill a vampire. Did you know that? I never knew that, so I didn't want to be a vampire anymore. I wanted to be a werewolf. But then anyway, as I'm watching this movie, and then you can tell how stupid it is because it's 1 in the morning. So I'm watching my TV, these kids watching their TV, vampire kill on their TV. So you know it's kind of stupid, but I'm still watching though. As I'm watching this show, what was funny, these kids had a vampire in their attic at their house. So they were watching their TV. Now I'm watching my TV as they watching their TV, or they see the vampire killer on their TV. So they win this contest to bring this actor. Now y'all got to stay with me.
Oh, it's way too late to stay with you, friend. That was by far the worst Rotten Tomatoes synopsis I've ever heard. You sound like an 8-year-old who ate too much sugar on Halloween and stayed up watching TV way past his bedtime. Did you know that werewolves can kill vampires? I didn't know that. So I don't want to be a vampire anymore. I want to be a werewolf. And also, did you know that the human head weighs 8 pounds? All I caught in that story was the sentence, and let me make sure I'm reading this verbatim so I can be fair and accurate to the potential future United States Senator from Georgia. I don't know if you know, vampires are cool people, are they not? Can you imagine someone actually asking that question during a hearing in the Senate chamber? The chair recognizes the senator from Georgia while also reminding him that this hearing is about agriculture and that our witness is an expert on grain, not vampires. Okay, cool. Mr. Secretary, before I get to the issue of farm subsidies, I have one question for you. Vampires are cool people, are they not? I yield the rest of my time. Also, let me just say, I did know that, okay? Let's be honest. Vampires are kick-ass people. There's no debate about that. Some of my best friends are vampires. Why do you think I look older every year, but Colin Jost still looks like this? He is 238 years old. Not only did he just buy an old Staten Island ferry, he was on the inaugural journey. Now you're for it all. If you were at all worried that the story just abruptly ended there and Walker moved on to something that made more sense, you know, to the voters of Georgia, rest assured he kept going. And the rest of it was just as bizarre. In fact, this story about vampires or whatever was so long, the only way for us to show it to you is through a time lapse.
Bring this actor who's a vampire killer from that TV to get rid of this real life vampire in their ad. Got to have a stake and got to have a thing to kill him in the heart. And he got a necklace of garlic, because that worked. I don't know what it does, but it worked. You got to have a cross, because it burned. I know that worked. They walked upstairs in this vampire looking real good in this black suit. He floated from the ceiling looking good and cool. And I'm thinking, whoa, they better get out of that house. As they jumped behind that hero, the guy jumped in front of him with this holy water, threw it on the vampire's forehead. He covered his eye. He took the cross, he put it on the vampire's forehead. And the vampire didn't even do anything. He said, that don't work. And that's the way it is in our life. It doesn't work.
I think Herschel Walker's plan to combat inflation might be that no one in Georgia will need to pay for streaming services anymore because he'll just tell you the plots of movies and TV shows. Now, there are no actual squids in Squid Game, but that doesn't mean these people don't have some serious problems. Trump and his movement were clearly a major drag on the GOP in last week's midterms, which gave Republicans an incredibly narrow majority in the House that will probably be led in large part by fringe extremists looking to cause chaos. And who knows, in a few weeks, they might even be joined by Herschel Walker, who, if he gets to the Senate, will be walking around looking for werewolves and vampires hiding in all the
corridors.
This has been Closer Look.
Huh. Yo, I want to make a beat, man. I want to make a beat on this bit. Send it, AJ. Send it, bro. Ooh. Absolutely nothing. See, Adam can type in the chat. Adam can type in the chat. Here we go. Yo. Yeah. I mean, I guess it doesn't have to be on, but I do like the light. Yo, chill, bruh. Sheesh. This is a chill. We just get high. I'm thinking about downloading this Beat Studio. You got one? Light them up. I mean, for $9.99 a month, professional features, all sound packs, cancel anytime. I mean, sounds pretty lit to me. Yeah, me too, bro. If I can download this shit, we gonna make a beat. Yo. Let's see. I'm downloading it right now. Let's see what it's all about. Oh. This seems kind of fucking fire, dude. What the heck? Oh shit. What do you think? Seems pretty seems pretty lit. We just finished. Extracting. Extracting. I get the game back on, see what's going on. Oh, here we go, boy. Oh, oh. Okay. All right. Let's open this bad boy. We are installing the beatmaker. Oh, Rogers. Watson. 25 catches. Oh, I edit the title of my stream, bro. Oh, here we go. New subscriber, AJ Aker. Let's go. Oh, that means, you know what that means? Gotta update the sub goal. We are at 17. I repeat, 17 subscribers. And it looks like this is done. Rogers. Oh, oh, that man got rocked. Damn. Oh, here we go. It's coming. Ooh. Hello? All right. Oh, shoot. All right. Here we go. Okay. All right, y'all boys can see everything now. We are going to. This is brand new. First time for both of us, for all of us, getting into Serato Studio. Never used it before. Oh, okay. You know what? Trying to figure this out. Best way to do this. Dang, it's not letting my mouse show up, bruh. It's kind of annoying. Yeah, if I do it like this. Alright, I'll have to do it like this. See if I can make it bigger. Alright. Now we're cooking. Now we are cooking with grease. Okay. Well, I guess Titans won. So we got to make a beat that would work for Derrick Henry. Let's make a beat for the old D Rock come out. Let's see. C minor, B minor, BPM. Let's put that up to 155. 155. Yeah, I don't know how to use this shit at all. What the fuck? What? Yo, what the fuck? Here we go. Instruments. Oh. I don't know. What instrument should we start with? What instrument should we start with, chat? To make a song for Derrick Henry. Huh.
Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Ill Factor from beatacademy.com.
Yo, Pax got wrecked. Shit, that's lit. Whoa, what the fuck? Oh. Alright. Well, I watched a little tutorial video, seeing what was up, so I think we're good to try to get in this. Think we are good to go. Put this in here. Alright, give me 1 second. I'll be right back and we'll start toying around. Sorry if I scared anybody. Alright. Let me open up the volume mixer here. Okay. God dang. Yo, what the fuck? Alright, why are these sounds so freaking loud, dude? Holy macaroni. Okay. Jeez, that's on 5. God dang. Why can't I see two at the same time, bro? I really want to see. How did he do that?
Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Ill Factor from beatacademy.com. This video, I want to walk you through using heard. So just off the bat, just kind of preview some of these sounds. Simply just draw in your pattern. You can also right click and fill in, double click this and type in, let's say 95 BPMs. And if we wanted to double the grid amount, we can just hit this. And now what we can do is add some little intro. We can just hit this here and that will double that as, as much as you want here. So we have the 1 through 2 and then 3 through 4. And if you added more here, you have the different bars. So you have bars 1 and 2, bars, and that will double that swing to this grid just by turning up. And if we wanted to double the grid amount, we can just hit this here and that will double that as, as much as you want here. So we have the 1 through 2 and then 3 through 4. And if you added more here, you have the different bars. So you have bars 1 and 2, bars 3 and 4,
Oh,
bars 5 and
that's
6,
why.
and bars 7 and 8. So this is an 8-bar pattern here. So
'Cause I'm
here
an
we have
idiot.
a basic 8-bar pattern. And now what we're going to do is go to the close hi-hat and fill in every
Okay. All right. So. Mm. Sounds good. Okay, okay, okay. Gee. Yo, you telling me it's that easy? I just learned how to use this shit. That shit is fucking sick. What? Okay.